Just resume. There we go. So guys, this is part 2 of Confidence and Coins, where today we will be talking all about how to overcome some of the obstacles that may try to almost deter you or get in your way as you make that decision to grow your confidence and coins. So everyone, hopefully you've got your notebooks and pen, because today we're going to do a little bit of writing. And I went away and I was really thinking about part 1 to Confidence and Coins. And if you've not seen that, you want to definitely check out that video. But what we were talking about was some of the things that we on an individual basis need to do so that we can always continue to start that work of actually improving our confidence and really starting to grow our coins in a healthy way. And yesterday we were looking at the importance of really being able to reflect the mirror at ourselves. Look a little bit deeper than just on the surface as to why we seem to find ourselves where we seem to find ourselves and why we seem to end up in these patterns. Because once we understand that, that's when we're actually able to do something different. So leading off the back of that, we were talking about once you recognize what it is you want to kind of change or what's not going so well, you've identified that area, then we need to actually break it down into small achievable goals, small things that you can start to do in that particular area you've identified. Now, whether that's to do with your confidence, whether it's to do with how you set boundaries with people, whatever it is, whether that's just the fact that you are saying, actually, the area of money is something that I need to focus on. Maybe it's how I manage my money. Maybe it's actually the fact that I need to increase my income streams. Whatever the area is, you break that then down into smaller goals. So what we're now talking about today is the fact that oftentimes when you make that decision, you actually will find that the minute you've said, this is what I'm going to do, you've got the area identified, you're so clear about where it is you're trying to get to now, something tends to happen. And I was really reflecting about my own journey with doing this, because I, like many of you, I literally went through a process of having to learn, okay, I need to definitely work at setting boundaries with others. I certainly not only need to know how to set them, I need to know actually how to maintain them. Because the hardest part sometimes, guys, is actually when you set something or you make a decision and actually it's seeing it right the way through. And that's the trick. Because many of us, we start something and we don't finish. Whether it's we're starting something about our finances and we say, okay, you know what, I'm going to set a goal to save this amount of money. We start great, but actually, can we run the whole race right the way through? And today I'm going to just touch on 5 key things that often may come up as obstacles that can really actually affect us in a way that actually we don't always foresee it. But the minute we've made that decision to do something different, some of these obstacles come up. And I'm going to give you the first one. And you definitely want to write this down, because the first thing is going to be your feelings. Okay, so you want to write down feelings, because feelings is an obstacle that gets in the way in a huge way that half the time we never actually expect. Now, the minute you make that decision, great, you're normally feeling quite pumped, quite excited. Let's take money for an example. We decide, you know what, I want to see something change with my money by the end of this year. Right now we're in 2020. You know, you've got maybe 5 months. You're pumped, you're excited. You set yourself this goal. You said, you know what? I'm going to reduce my spending on maybe clearing a credit card. All right, that's your goal. You're going to clear this credit card within this 5 months. You're feeling excited. You're feeling pumped. Day 2 begins the next morning. Then you have all these different feelings because you've now got to go and do some of the work, which might mean going into that file of letters or unopened envelopes, all the things that actually now are required for you to get running with that goal. Then you start to have these things called feelings, and your feelings start to rise to the surface. Now, guys, I've been there. I have definitely been in a position where I've wanted to clear debt. I've said, oh, I'm going to pay off the student loan. I'm going to do all these things so I can feel financially free, financially at peace, some sense of financial security that I haven't got so much going out. and less coming in. Now, when I set out on that goal, I remember thinking, right, this is great. I opened the first letter. I was like, ouch. The second letter. By the time you start to get to the third, fourth, you start to actually try and arrange those outgoings and all the expenses now, your feelings are different. Your feelings have changed. Your mood is now impacted. And one of the obstacles to us actually seeing success in whatever area we've decided to focus on is our feelings. If we find a way to actually manage those better, we would actually see a lot more success in every area of your life. But it's the management of our feelings that poses some of the greatest obstacles to us. So I'm starting with feelings because, again, guys, we were talking about accountability yesterday, and we're holding ourselves accountable now. So actually, there is something that we need to do when certain feelings rise to the surface. So hopefully yesterday, if you were here, you would have known about the Tesco bag story. You would have known about the lady who was a friend but a thief. Now, I went through those two experiences and learned so much about how I was not managing my feelings. Because when I found myself in that difficult space financially, I had a feeling of shame. I had the feelings of embarrassment come up. I had the feelings of feeling betrayed, feeling angry, feeling frustrated. I tell you, every wave of feeling came. Feeling sorry for myself. You know, you go through the rung of the feelings. I've been there. And I'm saying this for any woman or even men who may watch this down the line, that is quite normal. It's okay to feel half of those emotions. That's part of the process. The difference is if you don't get a way on how to manage them, they will be an obstacle that will impact you, that will actually avoid or keep you from actually getting to the goal and the actual end goal that you're trying to accomplish. And that is why, guys, we need to be in a position where we start to manage our feelings better. So today I was looking at some resources and definitely resources that can help you, okay? Now there's a book here, hopefully you can see it. It's called Emotionally Healthy Spirituality, excuse me. And it's by Peter Scazzero. Oh my God, I can never say his surname. You can probably just see it there. Hopefully I've said it correctly. Lord, Peter, forgive me. But it's called Emotionally Healthy Spirituality. And guys, this book is a game changer. Now, I say this because I remember that I actually realized that I hated the feeling of being vulnerable. I hated the fact that, one, I knew I needed to change my money situation. Two, I knew that I was in a situation that I didn't have all the answers to, which meant that I would definitely need to get honest and actually probably ask someone else for some advice. Now that for me brought up all those internal issues of feeling weak, vulnerable, and really just a little bit uneasy, uncertain with what are going to be the judgments of others. How are others going to now see me? And that, guys, is often which robs us and silences us from doing anything to actually change our financial circumstances or our confidence or whatever area of your life you're trying to work on. Because you have to get truthful with yourself first so that you can be truthful with others. Now, this book was a game changer because what this book did was it actually helped me not only start to understand how to give voice to those emotions, but now how to manage them in a different way. And actually, emotional intelligence or emotional health, this is an area that, guys, we normally just learn this from the people that raised us. And Lord, if you did not have people who were emotionally healthy and balanced, you have definitely come probably out of it with a few small emotional wounds on your shoulder. It's just part and parcel of life because they're only human, whoever's raised you. They only did their very best with whatever was given to them, the tools and the understanding they had. And unfortunately, social learning theory says it. We learn best through seeing and that which is modeled to us. So many of us have just picked up ways and understandings and belief systems through those who have been our caretakers, whether that's your parents or some other carers. And unfortunately, if you did not grow up in a household where emotions were expressed and understood and shared, and it was, you were helped to make sense of all of that, you may not have learned the ability to actually give voice to what you're feeling. So when these things come up, you're now struggling to give voice to it. You don't even know how to say it to yourself, let alone to share that with someone else and start to actually get support. Start to actually make sense of it, manage it, and pursue and carry on with your goal. So this is the first thing that can be the greatest obstacle to you growing your confidence and your coins, because actually your feelings are going to come up in this process. All right. So that's the first one. Lord, I should have practiced how to say the author's name. But guys, this book is a great book and I highly, highly recommend it. Now, one of the other things that I think you can do when it comes to feelings, especially because there's going to be feelings of fear, there's going to be feelings of worry about how others are perceiving you, because you're doing something different that is going to shift how you and they interact, connect, and what they expect of you. There's going to be a difference. Now, some of the things that I always say to women in particular, but men as well, is you have to affirm yourself, especially if as a child you were not affirmed by your parent or carer. You have to learn to do that for yourself. Now, this was something that I certainly remember having to learn to do for myself, and not because I had parents who didn't love me or didn't want the best for me. But actually, again, our parents have been socialized in a way that maybe they didn't go around the house saying, you are beautiful, or you know, you can do all things. Maybe they weren't, you didn't grow up in a household like that. And maybe you didn't hear those statements. And maybe you are not used to actually talking about yourself in such an empowering and uplifting way. But one of the things that I found is that when feelings rise to the surface, whether those are feelings of shame, guilt, anger, injustice, whatever it is, you often need to have something in your tool of arsenal to combat that and make a new statement. Because if you can do that, you are more likely to see that actually, as those feelings surface, you declare something else over your life. You declare, actually, I am not fearful, but I am fearless. Whatever that is, you need to declare that. Because we all know what those things are for us. Whether it's the thing of you feeling like, I'm just not good enough, I'm just not beautiful, whatever your thing is, you have to now declare that. And you have to go against it as if you absolutely believe it before you believe it. You have to believe it before you believe it. And I say that all the time, even to my clients, because most of them will say, but it feels so weird. Yes, it will, because you've probably done 20 plus years of living with that mindset and that feeling always coming up, and you just leaving it right there. You've never tried to attack it. But I'm telling you that feelings is often that thing that can absolutely pose one of the greatest obstacles to you. Okay, so we've got feelings. Great. So you can do some affirmations. You've got books out there that you yourself can invest in, and certainly start to work on understanding how to better manage your emotional health, how to really find a balance within our emotional states, because we focus so much on physical health and we forget that our emotional health is probably an area that is so underdeveloped. It's so neglected that that's why often, even if we just feel something, we're derailed again. We've gone and, you know, oh, I was about to try and clear this debt, and now we've gone and bought a new TV because I felt so sad the other day. I had to go put it on my credit card. We go into that same cycle. So get ready to attack and create a plan around how you can manage your feelings. Now, the next obstacle that comes up, are those who should be our greatest supporters. Guys, it's another F. It's family and friends. And I'm going to say family and friends because sometimes we have these people as our family who we don't get to pick. We're just born into it. But sometimes we make a decision to do something different. And those who we are hoping have our back and will be our greatest fans and supporters may actually be the ones who start to almost pose, let's say, unhelpful thoughts. They might come with a few suggestions that just go right against what you're trying to achieve. So again, let's use the example. 5 months from now, it's going to be December. You've made a decision to try and clear that credit card. And they are coming and saying, you've told them what your plan is, you're excited, you're pumped, you're managing your feelings. They come and say, look, why don't we just go out? And you're like, hold on, I've told you I don't actually have any extra money. And they just don't seem to get it. And now you're in a position where you're almost like, I can't be around you because actually you are impacting me on this journey towards hitting my goal. And now there's a slight offishness between you both. Now, friends and family, they can be our greatest supporters, but they can pose barriers and obstacles. Sometimes they may not see why we're trying to do the things we're doing because they themselves are in the same position and don't see nothing wrong with it. And it's not a thing of, well, you can't, or you're not as good as me because I'm starting to deal with this. It's nothing to do with that. You are running your own course, but you need to be careful about who is in your ear when you're doing those goals. Because friends and family have the potential to sometimes just say that one comment that can absolutely derail you, take you back to something or somewhere that you're trying to move away from. Now, one of the things when it comes to money is, again, we have all grown up in a family system where there's been beliefs around how we manage money, where there's been beliefs about being rich or being wealthy versus being just okay, or even just being a little bit less than okay. There's different feelings, thoughts, and beliefs around it. Now, the minute that you decide, okay, you know what, I'm not okay about being in debt, sometimes you start to see people just feeling like, well, what's so bad with debt? And they got an attitude now for the fact that you've made a decision that I'm just not okay about it. But it's like, if you make that decision to step from the main group and try and do something different, you almost find yourself sometimes not being attacked, but the comments start to come. And this is why I say to people, really, really pay attention to, one, who you decide to share your goals with. So again, thinking about accountability, because not everybody can hear where you're going. Some just need to watch you on the journey and some need to be a bit closer. But you must identify who those people are. And then what you might want to do is really start to understand what is your own money psychology behind why and how you manage money. Because if you tap into that, you are more likely to actually dig deeper down into the root of why you actually may have found yourself wherever it is financially today. And that, guys, was where I got to some years ago, because I knew that this wasn't just about me not having great boundaries and loaning money to a friend. This was bigger than that. This wasn't just about me, okay, not being that great, sometimes managing money. No, I could manage money relatively well, but still there was something deeper. And as I dug deeper and deeper down, I realized that actually this all began a little bit earlier into childhood. What were some of the stories you heard about money? And when I started really unpicking it, I had to admit to myself that actually I'd grown up not really feeling like being rich was okay or being wealthy was okay. It was almost like if you are too far wealthy or rich, then actually it's almost like you think you're better than the rest of them. And guys, nobody had actually told me that from my own family, not at all. But there is sometimes just a unspoken belief or unsaid thing within families that it's okay to have a certain amount, but don't go too far. And sometimes we ourselves put a cap on ourselves. And one of the other books that I really wanted to recommend to you around money tonight was The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. This is a phenomenal book again, because what this book allows you to do is actually really start to understand through some really good question techniques, okay, what actually is my money psychology? What are my belief systems around money? Because if you don't start to really tap into that, you will find yourself here again in another context, but the same thing. So those are two books that I really, really want to recommend, mainly because actually when we're dealing with family, it's either that we need to set a boundary with them, or we need to actually be able to understand why it is we seem to allow people to almost cross and violate a boundary that sometimes we haven't actually said. Why is that? Is that because actually we've grown up in a household where being able to say no to your mum was just a challenge? And actually we just allow anything to be said to us, when actually there are times we need to be able to say to our parents, that's not okay. And actually, I'm not going to loan you another grand. Being able to actually step into that role of saying no to our own friends and family is so crucial. Because not only if it's a no to borrow, it's a no that actually I don't need your comments. It's okay. I haven't asked for those comments. I haven't asked for your advice this time. And knowing that it's okay to even do that. Because that often, guys, is how sometimes some of us end up back in that same place, because it's so hard to say no to those we love. And those we love them greatly, but they can also be part of the obstacle and barriers to us succeeding in growing our confidence and coins. All right. So we've got something around family and friends. And of course, before that, we had feelings. Now, one of the other F's that I really wanted to talk about tonight was faking it. And this is a huge one, because one of the obstacles that will actually probably keep you broke and keep you from actually achieving your goals is faking it. Now, when I say this with a slight smile, because I remember having to wear a mask for many years because I couldn't admit to myself where I was at. It was just too painful. So I had to fake it. And I had to fake it until I got to a place where I was just so sick and tired of faking it that I had to get real. Now, there are so many women and men around the world faking it on every level possible. We want to look rich and wealthy, and there's nothing wrong with trying to have that as a vision and a goal, but to fake it to the impact, or to, let's say, the detriment of yourself, where now you're actually paying for things that you don't even have the money to fund, where you're now wanting to create a lifestyle that not only can you not afford, but the whole thing is a simple smoke and mirror thing going on. The whole thing, the car, the house, even the couple, but the couples are fake. You see it on YouTube now, like it's an in thing to be this couple that sit on a YouTube channel and have these fake relationships that look so aesthetically beautiful and got no substance within it. And the thing is the faking it is hard work. If you turn that energy towards actually succeeding with the goal, you would see that you smash your goals much faster. You would see that you're able to grow your confidence much more quicker. And with that confidence comes the ability to focus on how you can also confidently grow your own coins. But because you're so focused on faking it and making sure everybody doesn't see your struggle, we actually now have created for ourselves a barrier, an obstacle. Because the fact that actually I have to tell the truth to myself, and maybe even tell the truth to others that, oh, mum, I don't really own that car that I just picked you up from church in. Oh, mum, I can't actually afford the 5-star hotel and holiday family package that I just bought on my second credit card. Simple things that people are doing every single day to live a lifestyle. That is not true. And the sad reality is we are faking it with the nearest and dearest people. Those who we think and hope are our greatest supporters. We fake it the most. We don't dare open up about actually where we're really at. And that faking, that spending money that you don't have, that whole I'm okay smile, and actually internally quaking in your boots at what is going on with your finances, your marriage, yourself, your mind, everything else. But you're internally damaged, scared, falling apart. Your finances completely falling apart. But we're faking it so good and proper that actually now is posing an obstacle, because no one can help you as you're faking it. No one would even be able to believe that you need any assistance because you're faking it. And I went through that same experience. I had the friend who was the thief. I had a situation that was bigger than what I knew how and what to do about. And I just could not tell a soul. Why? Because I was faking it to myself that everything was okay. It's not my debt. I had just done a good thing, remember? I'd loaned some money. I'm a good person. But actually faking it because that debt is in my name. And actually those letters come to me. And actually taking another holiday when there's an actual real debt waiting for me when I get back is faking it. And I had just had to get really real with myself. And then that was when I could be real with others. And that's why I say faking it is one of your greatest obstacles also to you succeeding with your confidence and with your money. Because if you cannot get to a place where honesty and truth falls easily from your lips, you will continue to find yourself in a scenario where you are going around and around, because that faking it is just now become the habit. It's so habitual to just be okay. Everything's okay. How are you? I'm good. I'm okay. Lies, deceit, it's just lies. And I say this to my clients all the time, and they say, how can you own your story? Because it's my story. It's my experience. And I don't have shame, those feelings that used to be there. I don't have that anymore. And that's why I say to people, you have to understand that before we give you the practical tools of things you can go away and do now to maybe increase your income, to maybe increase your confidence and develop in those areas, we packaged and designed this confidence and coins program like this so that you don't just jump into action, but you start to do the work in steps so that you don't have to keep coming back on the mill doing the same dance. You need to have an understanding and a place where you can be honest and real. You can then make a decision. You can set some small achievable goals. You can then be aware of what some of these obstacles may be for you so that you are more likely to actually see success. And this is why this program is set out in this order. So one of the last F's I want to give you, maybe just two more, is the fact that we often, one of our greatest obstacles that might not only just keep you broke, but it may also leave you in a scenario where you never quite make the progress you want because you're always happy to find fault with others. And this is blame, guys. Like, we often find that we will look to someone else before we look at ourselves. And the minute I was able to actually stop blaming everyone else for where I was at, I actually made more progress in a short space of time than in the years that I had just sat there blaming someone else for where I was at. And I did. And the truth is that people will wrong you. Things will happen that is completely outside of your control, and it is, and it feels wrong, and it feels hard, and it feels like an injustice. But the difference is you have the power to do something different. And this is where I always say, where you can actually stop finding fault in everyone else, in everything else that that person did, in everything else that they said, even down to where our parents, you know, I work as a functional family therapist. We have adults who come there and they are still talking about wounds, emotional wounds and injuries that happened to them at the age of 5. Things that we have just carried that have burdened us, and we carry it day in, day out. And I'm not saying not to acknowledge it, but what I'm saying is make a decision how you now are going to respond to it. Once you understand it, you know what happened. Yes, it was an injustice. Yes, it was a wound, and a wounding that now you can start to do something different about. That ability to actually stop finding fault with others allows you to now hold yourself accountable, allows you to now feel like, actually, I'm powerful enough to make some different decisions. I can do something different. And again, affirmations are key here, guys. You need to affirm yourself that actually you can't hurt me, whatever that thing is. Because there's some things where it just feels like you are being persecuted. And we have, I don't like to use the term victim mindset, but it's so easy to get caught up in that, where we feel like we're being persecuted and everything feels like an injury and an injustice. And you have to be able to speak to that thing and say, you can't hurt me anymore. And when you say it, you're not saying like, you can't hurt me. You're saying, you can't hurt me. You don't have a hold over me. In my house, most of the time, my fiance, Leo, he's always like, who are you talking to? I'm like, I'm declaring over myself. What is going on here? He's got so used to it. Now he just knows, oh, she's just doing her declarations. I declare over myself in the bath when I'm washing plates. No one else is in my house. But as that thought creeps up, as that memory of something that was hard and painful comes, I have to declare, you can't hurt me anymore. Oh, you thought you had you don't have power anymore over me. And those things have been powerful in just being able to disrupt those thought patterns, because that's all you need. Fear's going to come, but you have to let fear be a teacher, because whatever it is that you're almost seeing and like, oh my God, I'm so scared of this, it's probably just there to teach you something about you. That's how I've learned to see fear now. So when I feel scared to walk out on a big stage, I think, Lord, what is the lesson here? And I go anyway. We have to see and look at fear as not this thing that's going to rob, kill, and destroy us, but is there to teach us something, is there to actually propel us forward. But I'm telling you, when it comes to you almost placing fault at other people's feet, you yourself have to almost say, that's enough of that. I don't do that anymore. Oh, I'm a new creation. You can't hurt me. And you have to declare it like your life depends on it. And I mean that truly, because I realize more and more that there are so many women who are feeling so persecuted. They've done all the right things. They've tried to be a good girlfriend, a good wife, a good daughter, a good this, all the steps that we think make us just these good beings. And yet there are still things that feel like real deep injustices done to us. And we are left sometimes in a mindset and a space which almost leaves us paralyzed. And bit by bit by bit, it's harder to pull yourself out. And that's why I say to you, you know the area that you need to work on. I can give you a list. I always say to women, you should have a journal. Whether you journal daily or once a year, I always say these are great, because what you want to be able to do is use it in a therapeutic, reflective tool. Because sometimes when you track where your mind state was at the start of the year, and you come back to your journal and see in maybe 8 months' time what it is you're writing down, how it is you can see growth or change. I'm telling you, these things give you that little perk that gives you those stripes. Remember, we were talking about putting the stripes on ourselves now, girls. We don't need someone else to always be validating us. We need to put those stripes on ourselves. And I use my own journal, and you may not be able to see it fully, but I have different affirmations. And I declare these things like my life depends on it. Because I remember that there are always going to be moments when I'm tested. And I know that I need to have my weapon of arsenal. So I know that if my mind is something that sometimes gets attacked, where I'll have these thoughts that almost want to plunge me back to where I was, I have to declare straight away, I am a master of my own mind. I am a master of my own mind, meaning I decide what thought resides in here. I am a master of my own mind. When I have those thoughts and feelings like, oh my God, oh my God, I gained 2 extra pounds and I'm getting ready to get married. Oh my God, I have to decide, hold on, I am beautiful inwardly and outwardly. And whether we worry about someone else seeing that or knowing that, that is not my concern. I am beautiful inwardly and outwardly. I can't be concerned about you and Tom and Jerry or my husband, not at all. And this is where we have to have that bold confidence. Guys, you will know the areas that you are tested in. You will know them. And that's why I say to people, take a moment to write down, have an arsenal of some things that you declare. Because there is some things that I said, no, you can't hurt me anymore. There were some things that I just had to say, you know what, I'm a master of my own mind. I decide what thought stays here and what thought goes. And just taking back control. So for the last one of the greatest obstacles that can really impact our success and in some ways impact our goals is the fact that oftentimes, guys, we love free. And Lord, we love free till free is now hurting us. It's now posing one of the greatest obstacles. And I say this because I remember thinking to myself, you know what? My mom always says nothing in life is free. And I always used to think, nothing in life is free. And she was saying, you know what? Anything you really want in life, there is a cost to it. And too many of us have grown up in this sort of new age, time period where, oh, I want free content and free this and what's the freebie in it and we're so focused on free that we miss the opportunity to actually truly invest in ourselves, because we're always looking for the freebie, but really reluctant to actually see that investing in yourself comes at a cost. And guys, I am talking about you deciding to make time to go and write down an affirmation, not just expecting a freebie to come and give you the perfect affirmations for yourself. No, there's a cost. Sometimes the cost is just the time that you need to set aside to go and do that yourself. Oh, I just want a free download. Tell me what affirmations. Well, yeah, I can give you 100 lists, but you need to actually understand that don't always think of the cost as money only. Think of the cost as, are you giving yourself time to go and do some of this work? Because we turn up for these events and we go to these seminars and we know that if we applied all that we learn, we would actually see some huge turnaround and progress in whatever area you choose to apply it. But there's a cost involved. And most of us will miss out our blessing because we will not be willing to sacrifice a bit of time to do anything different. Now, that's why I say free can absolutely free you, but it can be one of your greatest obstacles. It can be one of the greatest. Because even if I said, okay, there's a book, the book is a cost of £2. Some people would rather just wait for the free download that's coming out in 12 months' time than to pay £2 to actually start their journey 12 months earlier, invest in themselves, and actually get running. And we laugh at this. I was doing this the other day and someone was like, damn, I was that woman. I'd have waited 12 months and just paid the £2 in 12 months. And I was laughing, saying, look at that. Think about if you paid £2 for something and you knew that that thing was going to not only give you the knowledge, the experience, but absolutely be able to fundamentally change an aspect of your life that you want to see change. You would wait 12 months when actually Just paying £2, there's a potential return on that investment of just £2. That could mean that you've built a business for yourself that in 12 months has now given you a turnover of 100K. But we delay, guys, because sometimes there's a cost. And I touch on it so often because we don't seem to see the value sometimes in investing in ourselves. So we would spend an hour on Netflix, an hour or scrolling on IG, an hour doing our toenails, whatever the case is. But an hour of actually investing in your mind or learning something new or actually taking a course, reading a book, finding a coach, identifying a mentor, something that is going to shift you and move you forward, many of us won't do. And this is why I say these 5 obstacles are so key to really being conscious of before you move into the practical tools. And that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. And we've got some special guests tomorrow as we wrap this all up. Tomorrow is going to be exciting because I have got some special guests who are coming on to not only share their journey of how they've done this, but absolutely also give practical tools and things that people can go away and do that can not only boost your confidence, but also your coins. So tomorrow is going to be very, very special and exciting. But I want to lay down these 5 fundamentals because these are key areas that will sometimes end up distracting you and posing the greatest barrier. Will you actually invest in yourself? Will you take the time to create some affirmations that you know you definitely need? Will you take the time to read a book or to even go and just locate a life coach, whatever it is you need that you know this is an area that I now need to tackle? Will you willingly make that sacrifice and invest in yourself? Because I remember when I got to a place that I did not have all the answers to money, I was like, do you know what? I need to get a coach. I need to be around somebody who can actually assist me in the next level because I didn't know it all. I had no idea about, okay, 1, I need to actually be able to get this debt in order. 2, I now need to think about how can I increase my streams of income. 3, all these different things that I realized, okay, first I need to admit to myself once again, then I need to tell the truth to someone else and stop faking. And now I need to go and actually connect with people who have the results I want or have the advice that I need. And this is why I say to people, investing in yourself is crucial to that. Whether it's going back to school to do a course, a seminar, a book, or just making time to do some of that self-work. But the investment is key. Because the minute I actually realize I need to do something, not wait for it to fall from the sky, but I have the power to do something now. I started actually stop looking at all the freebies. Lord, free is good, but guys, you know, when you decide to actually pay for something, there's value in that, you know, and that was the shift that we all have to make sometimes to see, actually, there is value in me actually making a payment here because I see that free gives you a little bit, but when you pay for something, oh, you get so much more. You get so much more. And that's where mentorship, accountability, all these things are key. Because at the minute I decided that I was going to actually invest in myself, I made sure that actually when I talked about investment, I wasn't just talking about financial investments. I was talking about investments on every single level. I wanted change in my spiritual life, my emotional life, my physical health life, my relationship life. I was like, I got to my end of my 20s and I was like, I don't even think I know how to have a healthy relationship. I had to check myself. I was like, Sherna, do you actually know how to have a healthy relationship? And these are great questions to pose to yourself because when you start to write down what you think a healthy relationship should look like, then you might go and invest in a course or a book and you just need to marry it up. Does what I put down and what this say marry? Does it tally up? And if it doesn't mean yours is wrong, but you start to see, is there anything on this list that I might want to add to my list? Invest in yourself in every area of your life. And I'm telling you guys, the minute I did that, not only have I seen transformation in my life, but the people that suddenly come into your life, the opportunities that suddenly are birthed from that, it's because the minute you make the decision, the shift happens. The people that you haven't spoken to in so long, they just fall back into your life. Oh, it is insane what happens, but it starts with a decision. It means you have to be truthful. It means you need to be aware of some of these obstacles so that you yourself can make some good decisions on how to manage that so that you continue reaching towards that goal. So guys, I am so excited. I thank you again for joining me on tonight's call. We have got part 3 to wrap up our pre-launch tomorrow at 8 p.m. We have got some exciting special guests who will be joining me on tomorrow's final finale. And these women are powerhouses. When I say they're powerhouses, you do not want to miss tomorrow's event. I can't thank you enough for joining me on tonight's call once again. And again, I hope to see you all tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And thank you and good night and God bless. Take care, guys. Bye.